right now. Okay, so focusing on how to manage low mood. And you don't need to be depressed to wake up sometimes with low mood, with or without the pandemic, right? It's something that we all experience. The first thing that happens is we feel really downtrodden is just this kind of, I know I need to do something, but I simply can't. Maybe you don't even feel like you can stand up, which is going to be the second thing we focus on, a breath practice and standing. And you need something that can just bring you to the here and now, just slightly quell the mind enough so you feel you have the energy. You're not fighting those thoughts that are so painful or so low. So what I'm going to do is a modified version of a Kundalini Kriya, which is called Sat Nam or Kirtan Kriya more accurately, where you move your fingers against your thumb while you recite something like this. And each movement is aligned with a syllable. So you start with your pinky and you say sa, then your ring finger ta, then your middle finger na, ma. All it means is the name of truth, right? So it's about coming back to truth. And then you go the other direction. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Just like that. But we say it in kind of a sing-songy voice. It won't be a proper chant, but just kind of like sa, ta, na, ma. Now, why are we going to do that? Why have I chosen that for low mood? As I mentioned at the end of the session on Monday, moving the fingers provides so much stimulation to the brain, more than moving much of the rest of the body, which is amazing to think about, right? But we have so many sensory receptors on our body, on our hands, and we do so many things with our hands all the time. And when we do something like this, we're providing a lot of input to the brain, which can, over a period of time, actually cut through all of those painful thoughts, or even that just kind of low mood that you don't feel very much or think very much around. In addition, the lips have a lot of sensory receptors, so it's useful to say something. So we do that, and that also cuts through some of the dross in the mind. And the Satanama actually gives the mind a focus. And after we do it for a few minutes, we switch to doing it silently in the mind. So it's so many different inputs that we're hitting the mind with that has the potential to move through and curtail some of those really challenging emotions and thoughts. So we'll start with that. Then we'll do a breath that slightly lifts the energy, not too much, and then come to something calming. Because even when we have low mood, we actually are feeling anxious behind all of it. Okay? So I'm going to guide you. I know for many of you this will be new. For some of you it will be familiar. You don't need to have your hands up like this, right? They probably should be on your knees. Remember that you're going to start with your thumb on your pinky finger, then your ring, then your middle, then your index, and then go back the other direction. So you hit the index again, then go the other direction, and then you hit the pinky, and then you hit the pinky again to go the other way. So have your eyes downcast or closed. Feel yourself sitting. And we're going to start going from the pinky to the index finger. Sa, ta, na, ma. That's it. Sa, ta, na, ma. Let's begin. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sat Nam, 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 Sat Nam. Now start saying it in your mind. And maybe actually even see the sa, the ta, the na, and the ma, the words in your mind. Imagine seeing them as you continue. So you're bringing visualization in as well. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, just keep going. Not all minds are given to visualization, but we can cultivate it. If it feels like it's making it too confusing, though, you can just come back to reciting it as you move the fingers and you recite it silently in your mind. Two more, and then just stop in silence. Just notice how you feel. Okay. And now we're going to stand up. And we're going to do what's called the breath of joy a few times together. We're going to do it 10 times. I need to move the camera up so you can see me. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhale, bringing the arms in front of us. So do stand up because you want to find that energy within you. Inhale up. Inhale up to the sides. Inhale up again. And then exhale through the mouth. If you have any lower back issues, make sure to bend your knees and come down slowly through the breathing out of the mouth. So we'll do it together 10 times. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Let's do one more. And it's likely that your energy is lifted now. Have your hands out to the sides, palm facing towards the screen. Feel your feet. And inhale, breathing up from the ground. Exhale back down. We'll just do this a few times. So that there's balance, you don't feel too lifted. So you're bringing the energy a little bit down again. And now let's come to sit down. Okay. And now we're going to do a very calming breath practice. So we've lifted the nervous system, which is useful, and we've also helped to bring the mind to the breath and to something other than rumination and negative thought, right? And then we've lifted the nervous system. And even in anxiety, this teaches resilience, right? When we lift the nervous system and then we lower it. So what we're going to do now for the next 10 minutes is so simple, and I've taught it before, which is just the elongation of the breath. And we're going to use Ujjayi breath to do that. The physiological effect of elongating the breath is that our major nerve of relaxation, the vagus, coming out of the brainstem down to the heart, sends messages to the heart on the exhalation, slowing down the heart rate. So it's a great way to calm everything down. And I'll explain at the end, if you want, one of the reasons why we can wake up with so much panic or low mood, and the value specifically of that, of this practice related to it. Now, if you know Ujjayi breath, I ask you to just inhale naturally, exhale long Ujjayi breath. If you have never practiced Ujjayi breath before, I'm going to show you how to do it while the others are practicing. So Ujjayi breath sounds like the ocean, right, like this. And if you're unfamiliar with how to make that noise, just lift up your hand in front of you and pretend that it's a mirror. We've all fogged up a mirror with our mouths. So I'm going to ask you to inhale naturally and imagine fogging up that mirror, making that noise that we make. Da-da, da-da. Inhale, and a. Let's do that again. Inhale. One more time. Natural breath. Great. And now we're going to imagine breathing out of the nose. Not imagine, we are going to breathe out of the nose, but imagine that the nose is here. So I want you to place your index and middle finger at the center of the throat. It's easier to do this breath when we imagine we're breathing out of the throat. Inhale naturally. And exhale. Just like that. Inhale naturally. And exhale. Continue. If you want to release the hands from the throat, you can. And you're just going to practice in this way. Now, to make it more formal, everybody now, we're going to purposely have the exhalation twice the length of the inhalation, which is going to require you to count. So you might do 2-4, inhaling for a count of 2 and exhaling for a count of 4. If you feel you need a longer breath, inhale for a count of 3, exhale for a count of 6, and still longer, 4 and then 8. Not push. Make the breath long. Do not push. If you do, you will undo the experience of calm. So instead, find a level that works for you and count. I ask you don't do 5-10 or 6-12 because that creates a different physiological effect than the one I'm trying to bring forward this morning. So it's 2-4, 3-6, or 4-8. And make sure you count. That also helps to bring the mind really here. And if we are having negative or low thoughts, or we just feel low, this brings us back. The counting and the controlled breathing. And remember, it's only on the exhale you're doing the Ujjayi. Keep counting. If the mind has gone away, keep counting. Continue counting. Continue bringing the mind just to the breath. And if the mind wants something more, something faster, something more interesting, just watch that thought and bring it back. We must train the mind to be satisfied with the subtle. That's part of it, experiencing contentment. Okay. Just do one more controlled breath like this, and we're going to move into the meditation. Now, as part of engaging in self-care and the development of self-awareness, if any of you are feeling right now like the mind has run away with you and you can't sit, you can stand up again and do more of the breath of joy. Right? Do something active. This is the intelligent development of your personal practice. Otherwise, you can sit with me and practice meditation. And just watch the breath. So you have been controlling it. Notice what it does without your control. Notice the natural length of the inhale, the natural length of the exhale. Any pauses that you see. The differences you might sense breath by breath. Is the next exhale longer? The inhale longer? More choppy? How might it be different? And just watch. Watch with great interest. If the mind goes away, as it will, and you're not actually focusing anymore on the subtle breath, just notice and say to yourself, thinking, 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 and then bring the mind back, focusing today's attention on the length, just watching each inhale and exhale, being really intrigued as to what your brain has decided, second by second, should be the length of the inhale and exhale. Because it's initiating those changes, your brain is. And watching the breath in of itself will change how your brain is functioning. And then as you continue to watch how your brain has changed the breath in response to that, it changes again. So just be really intrigued at this ever-going cycle of reciprocal effect. At any moment, the mind is not there. It's fine. You just highlight. Thinking, thinking, thinking. And then you watch again with great interest. What's each breath cycle like now? What is each breath cycle like now? Keep bringing the mind back, watching the inhale from the beginning all the way to the end. See how long it is. Watching the exhale all the way from the beginning of it to the end. To see the length. Noting any pauses and watching when the brain is ready again to initiate the next in-breath. This remarkable life-giving process that happens without any input from you. And yet it's so gentle and delicate and willing and flexible that it's most happy to be altered by you as well. And I want to end today's practice with the following loving kindness meditation, just for ourselves. So you can recite in your own mind as I say this. May I be happy and peaceful, healthy and at ease. May I be able to take care of myself joyfully, and may I possess the patience, wisdom, courage, and determination to meet the challenges of my life. And send yourself that loving kindness. Thank you so much, everyone, for your practice this morning. So just a few things I'd like to say. The first is, I am interested to know whether those of you that do trainings with me would like me to do one on depression, because I've only focused really on trauma and anxiety. And also I've been wondering whether I should teach a training on loving kindness. I'm not going to do a short one right now on mindfulness, because I think that, at least from the current perspective, that would need to be longer. But please let me know if that's interesting to you. And I am going to be doing one, another trauma-sensitive skills and rewiring the brain the first week in June. I'm super busy before then. And also, yeah, I'm remembering, because people have asked me to make announcements. So the Yoga and Healthcare Alliance, for which I am I am the founding director, offers this 5-day training in a course that we created on request from the NHS for social prescribing. And Paul Fox, who I co-run that with, asked me if I would be willing to teach it with him for almost half price, for having a greater army of teachers that could do this once everybody comes out of lockdown. So normally it's £500, and we'll be teaching it for $300 on the 14th. I haven't done any marketing for it, but if you're interested, you can go to the Yoga and Healthcare Alliance website. Coming to the breathing, about the elongated exhalation and its value in the morning, I said I wanted to mention that. So in the morning time, we release more of our stress hormone, cortisol. That's all of us. But if we are more depressed or anxious, we tend to release more in the morning. And you might think if you have very low mood that you would actually release less cortisol. It's not the case. You're still releasing high levels of cortisol in depression, even if you feel really lethargic. Now, you might need to get yourself to move the first thing in the morning, and that's actually what cortisol wants to do, like getting up out of bed and doing the breath of joy, or even starting with the finger actions. But after that, you want to do some things to mitigate those higher levels, which is why we have that elongated exhalation. So if that is your issue, if you wake up in the morning with a sense of dread and anxiety, if you're just anxious, can you go straight into the breathing, or maybe you do the Sat Nam? And if you're also depressed, do something to stand up and then come back down and try to do the slow controlled breathing, which will inhibit the mechanism of producing some of that cortisol, the HPA axis or the hypothalamus pituitary axis. So everyone, time for questions, if you have any, or comments. And do let me know about the other trainings if you're interested or not, because I never know what people would like to learn. Beverly, do you want to ask a question?
Yes, please. Is this suitable for people who can't get out of a chair, who are chair bound?
Definitely the Sata Nama and the long exhalation is, and you can do this also within a chair and just come down very gently. Yeah, it's all suitable for people in a chair.
Because I've recommended somebody to join us. So I was worried if you were doing standing postures.
Well, everything can be done in a chair. The thing is that if you can stand up and you're feeling very depressed, or if you can just be more upright in your chair, it's going to help your nervous system. But yes, absolutely, you can do it in a chair.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah. Lillian, it looks like you've unmuted yourself, so I'm assuming you're next. But Lillian, I think the person that has the name Lillian is actually a man. Or no?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
No, I'm a woman.
Somebody else. It's somebody else who's using their wife's account. Sorry, it's not you.
Okay. My question was, do you have a video on the dry breath? I found that very, very hard to do. So I eventually I didn't do it, but I did try and breathe from here, and I did the 2-4, and I hope that was better than not doing anything. But is there a video you've got that I can practice that dry breath?
I mean, there are loads of videos where I'm doing it. If you're having trouble, you might need more instruction, Lillian. So I would start with just maybe continuing to do it on the exhalation.
Yeah, I just found it very hard to actually get.
Could you do it through the mouth though?
Yes, I could do it through the mouth, but not through the nose.
So it might be that you need some more one-to-one instruction. Because generally the way I teach it is this way, and if somebody's challenged, then I would go to them individually and work with them. So you might need some more one-to-one instruction. Loads of yoga teachers offering things for free right now that might be able to do that for you, or paid, but it's fine if you also just do the elongated exhalation. But yes, if you watch and keep practicing, it might come naturally.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure, yeah.
Very much for all of this.
My pleasure. I really enjoy doing it. Joe Groom, I think you're next. And then I have Julie and then somebody who's put their name as tapping. So Joe Groom?
Hello.
Hi.
First time joining, I just really wanted to say thank you. I don't really have a question, but I've just really enjoyed it. Looking forward to finding some more videos on YouTube and hopefully coming to the one-day online course. Yes, just thank you very much.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Oh, and by the way, it's here again Friday, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I think next weekend, this weekend I can't because I'm teaching from Thursday through Sunday all day, but I will do another retreat because I like doing those where we have like 2.5, 3 hours to practice together. So I'll do another one. Ciao.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Julie, you're next, and then no,
Hello, Heather. Thank you so much. I really, really valued and appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. Just wanted to can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to clarify in my mind with the elongated ujjayi that it's just on the exhale for this practice. And if so, what are the benefits? Because automatically I want to inhale the ujjayi as well. So I had to consciously just do it on the exhale.
Yeah, so the reason that I do this was twofold today. For the newbies, it's because the exhalation is much easier to get than the inhalation, and there's a tendency to pull the breath in, right? And I want to avoid that. The reason that I had people who know how to do Ujjayi doing it is exactly the reason you said, is that it takes you out of automatic pilot. And I really wanted to cut through thinking. And those of you that practice Ujjayi breath are used to always doing it on the inhale and exhale, and it requires the constant attention of your mind to pull away from that and be like, no, 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 just the exhale, just the exhale. Physiologically speaking, the inhale followed by the exhale is really wonderful for people that find it relaxing, and it has great benefit. But yeah, today for me was very much about keeping those thoughts away by engaging your minds. That's why.
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. Tapping. You're next.
My name's Liz. I don't know why I've been called tapping.
Do you want me to change it for you? Because I can actually rename, well, and another time I can rename you and make you Liz. There you go. You're going to be Liz now.
I belong to the British Wheel of Yoga, and I went to a course that you did in a congress.
Yep.
I would be interested in doing the National Health Service course. I wonder how the National Health Service will accept us, though.
Well, we've been running this training for a while. I think we're going on 2 years, and our teachers have been, I mean, in their little pockets, have been managing to get funding for it. So it is actually working. I mean, obviously, we've been hit with a big unexpected change of circumstance. But we also have evidence, because the course that we designed it because the clinical commissioning group in West London wanted to evaluate the efficacy of a program, and Westminster University did the research. So it's it has some gravitas behind it.
I wonder what the funding would be like now.
Yeah, that I can't speak to. For sure, I cannot speak to the funding like now. So that's why it's more of a long-term thing, because if we thought everybody right now could get the same level of funding, we wouldn't be offering it at almost half price the rate. It would be still full price. And so this is something that people are doing now, understanding that it will probably be after the lockdown, and when things go back to normal, which might be 6 months, that they'll be able to do it. It's not for this moment necessarily. But it's a good time to begin practicing the course, because there's a lot of elements to it. I made it somewhat complicated to teach. Anyway, up to you if you want to join. There is an interview process for it, because we're very discerning. I'm sure that, I'm not saying that you wouldn't go through that, but it's not like a lot of the other courses where you can just pay. You have to sign up, and then Paul calls you and you have an interview. So see if you're interested. Yeah. Thanks everyone. Any other questions or comments?
Me.
Julie, yes.
Sorry, I just it was that when you mentioned the cortisol, the extra cortisol in the morning, it was just so, it was almost like a relief to remember and remind myself about that. I wondered if you could just say a little bit more, because that is what's happening to me at the moment, almost like more than normal, that I have to get up and go for a jog and then start my breathing before I can feel myself again in the morning.
So, okay. The reason that this happens in the morning is you have a cortisolic trajectory throughout the day. And one of the main things that cortisol does for us is it actually helps to wake us up. So what happens is we have this nucleus in our hypothalamus, which is part of the brain. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. I know you don't need to memorize this, guys, but you asked for more information.
Yes.
And the light actually travels through your closed eyelids, moving into this nucleus, and this nucleus then causes the release of cortisol via the HPA axis. And another reason it will be stronger potentially right now is also the light. We have the light a little bit more early. So you'll find, because it links up with when you have the first light rising. So in a place like the UK, where we have such dramatic changes in the light, we can have a dramatic change in that trajectory. But when you marry that with such significant changes in our everyday, you will also have potentially higher levels. And so it's very important that you stave that off so you don't have higher than normal levels in the morning, because it can become chronic otherwise for you. The other thing that is suggested within spiritual traditions, which I don't necessarily know has a basis in science as of yet, is what you do the first thing before you go to bed at night, because the idea is that that's going to affect the sleeping and then the waking brain. Whether that has evidence in terms of research, I cannot say, but there's a lot of Buddhist practices I know that you do last thing before your last moment of falling into sleep, with the idea of making your first moment more relaxing. Can you hear my dog snoring, by the way? She's so loud. So loud.
Good breathing.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, the cortisol, it's Liz again.
Mm-hmm.
Cortisol, I wake up in the morning, I'm full of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that wrong?
No, that's why the cortisol is there. But sometimes the levels are too high.
And that means I'm too high when I wake up in the morning.
No, you're too high if you wake up in the morning and you feel anxious and nervous and feel cold emotionally.
Oh, right.
That's totally normal that you wake up with some energy. It's great. Yeah.
Raring to go.
Yes. So everybody, thank you so much for your time. If you can write me in the chat your thoughts about any of those courses, that'd be helpful, because I take my cue from other people, depression and loving kindness. And yeah, the other trauma skills and the one for rewiring the anxious brain will be up later today. I'm going to do those again at the beginning of June. So yes?
Sorry, Heather, it was just to let you know that your chat was disabled this morning, just in case there were other people. So thank you very much. I would be very interested in the loving kindness training.
And me too, thank you.
Oh, you can now write. I re-abled it. I saw that.
Thanks.
I don't know who did that. It wasn't me. Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
It explains why nobody wrote to me. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
It looks like loving kindness is winning out, but I'll also maybe do the depression one. For more information about social prescribing, go to the Yoga and Healthcare Alliance website, or for something just about social prescribing in general, go to the King's Fund. The King's Fund describes it in a really lovely, simplistic way, quite accurate. Yeah.
King's Fund, did you say?
King's Fund, yeah. But the it's called the Yoga for Health program, and the website is yogainhealthcarealliance.com.
Yoga in Healthcare.
Alliance.com. Yeah, you can Google it as well. Yeah, it'll come up, or you can even just Google Yoga and Healthcare UK. It'll also come up.
Thank you.
Find.
Thanks, Heather. It's Mary Rose.
Yes, thank you, Mary Rose.
Our lovely session this morning. Cortisol conversation. Interesting.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's much more complicated, the cortisol trajectory, than we think.
Yeah.
There's much more to it than just lowering it. But I only talk about that in longer trainings. Yeah.
I know. I'm coming.
Like the 5-day anxiety course, and I also do it in the full training. I think those are the only times I talk about the whole trajectory of the cortisol map. Anyway, I need to go walk my dog, wake her up and walk her. So bye, everyone.
Bye, my love. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
The NHS course, again, is on yogaandhealthcarealliance.com, because another person asked, yogaandhealthcarealliance.com. That's where it is. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.